Hello and welcome back to the Cars Ireland YouTube channel. Today we take a very quick look around the Renault Scenic E-Tech. Now some people may lament the fact that the Renault Scenic is no longer an MPV. But the simple fact of the matter is people don't buy MPVs anymore. They want crossovers of this style. There are two battery sizes to choose from, a 60 kilowatt hour or an 87 kilowatt hour. The quoted range on the smaller battery is 430 kilometers, larger battery 625. The boot is a respectable 545 litres with the back seats up. If you drop them down, you get just under 1700 litres of space. There is a false floor for your leads and bits and bobs, but do keep in mind there is quite a high load lip on this, so getting stuff up and over might be a bit awkward for some people. Space in the back is really good too. For someone of my height at 6 foot, I can sit behind my driving position without any issues at all. Plenty of headroom, plenty of legroom. The party piece really is this large centre armrest with two rotating cup holders and a spot for your device or phone or whatever to watch your favourite YouTube channel. Really relaxing experience back here. And if you have children, you can fit two large Isofix seats back here without any issue whatsoever. Up front it's very impressive too, and that sense of space really translates from the back up here into the front. Absolutely no complaints in that regard. For the most part everything feels really well built and it really feels like a step up from Renault. The only bit that I've noticed that feels a bit cheaper is the glove box, bit flimsy. Everything else feels really well put together and some of the materials used are really high quality. Lovely centre armrest. Nice flocking here on the dash as well. It's got a real natural feel to it and a real natural look too. Now there are 4 spec levels on the Scenic. There's Evolution, Techno, Alpine Spirit and Iconic. We are in the top of the line Iconic model, so it has all the bells and whistles. Prices start from 39,995 for that Evolution and it goes all the way to 55,000 plus for the Iconic model. The sweet spot in my mind is that Techno level. Starts at 42,000 euro for the 60 kilowatt hour battery and goes to 49,000 euro for the larger battery. So included on the Iconic spec is things like, this is going to be hard to say, opacifying panoramic roof with where it changes colour basically. I'll show it on the camera. You have a 9-speaker Harman Kardon system, a 360 camera with 3D vision, a hands-free parking option that you'll never use. I don't know anyone who actually uses any of those park by itself models. They're not worth the hassle. The exterior is pretty similar across all the range. There are some little variations, but this one has some 20-inch alloys and they look pretty cool. You've good storage down the centre, you've good storage in the armrest, decent storage in the door bins, lovely crisp screen in front of you, and you can play around with the colours on the dash and stuff, which my 3-year-old really loved. She was very happy. Now the 12-inch multimedia system is powered by Google, which makes life a hell of a lot easier. It's crisp, clear, works really well and is very quick for the most part. Mercifully, we get buttons under the screen to do your climate control, which is great in this day and age. And because it is powered by Google, you just get Google Maps built in and there is a route planner, so it will tell you how much range you're expected to have when you get to your destination. Parking camera is standard across the range and I do feel like that is very important because visibility isn't the greatest, particularly out the back. You can't see a whole lot. One last thing before we move on to the driving is that the sound in here has been designed by Jean-Michel Jarre. So it's got some non-traditional bings and bongs that you wouldn't expect from a car, but it's interesting. So how is it to drive? Well, do you know where I'm going to land? Fine, maybe even perfectly fine. It's exactly what you expect from a family crossover. Now the larger battery, naturally enough, has more power, 220 horsepower, so it will get from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 7.9 seconds, which is pretty impressive for what this is. Smaller battery, 170 brake horsepower and about 8.6 seconds to 100. I think we live in a world with EVs and stuff where a family crossover doing 0 to 100 in under 8 seconds maybe isn't appreciated for what it really is nowadays, because that is bananas numbers. Torque is a pretty impressive 300 Newton meters as well, so what that means is overtakes and getting off the line and getting moving in this big old bus, not a problem whatsoever. It actually hustles its big bum pretty well. Down a winding back road, it's relatively happy. It kind of moves about a bit too much and that weight obviously stunts the fun, but it's perfectly fine. And obviously the big question, given that it is an EV, is what is their range? We all want to know that on an EV. Quoted range of 625 kilometers is highly unlikely, but it is an efficient setup and it does give some decent range. Personally, I'm looking like the 450 to 500 mark. But just to point out, What Car magazine did test this against 12 other EVs in a summer range test, and it only came second to the Polestar 2. And most importantly, all Specs get that heat pump, which is very important in crappy Irish weather. All in all, this is a very solid choice in a competitive market with things like the Tesla Model Y, the Kia EV6, the Nissan Ariya, the Enyaq from Skoda. But this is a really solid choice, easily 8 out of 10. I think we'll leave it there. Thanks for joining us on this quick look around the Renault Scenic, and if you'd like to find your next car, please check out CarsIreland.ie.